Hey, everybody, welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. So, I want to go over an article before my next guest gets on because I think we're waiting on him to Zoom, but we're going to Zoom in. But I want to talk about, we made the national news in marijuanamoment.net, which is one of my favorite go-to spots for cannabis information. So it talks specifically about our new adult use laws that are coming down the pipeline here, and it's going to be very interesting to watch all this land and all these laws change and come into effect. And they come in with different expungements. Each one has a different way of expungement, a different level of expungement. Now, I truly believe as an activist and an advocate, and me, that I'm not happy, of course, until every single person's out of jail, and cannabis just cannot possibly get you thrown in there unless it's with corruption or something like that. But so the different things coming down the pipeline, though, I believe they're steps towards something greater, but we do have to tackle these issues as they come along. And Brennan England, we got Brennan on the Zoom now. Brennan England from St. Louis Cannabis Club, and he's also the president of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, or Missouri chapter, I believe. And we're going to let him come on in and talk to us a little bit about what expungement means for Missouri and what he said in that article, because I've got some quotes that are pretty wild. Brennan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. You hear me all right?
I can hear you really well.
Good.
I'm gonna read a couple quotes that you had in this article here. And here's a quote from Brennan. We already know that especially minorities are subjected to extensive, aggressive over-sentencing. So how can you guarantee that those who have actually been targeted the most by the war on drugs are going to have a chance to get out? And he asked that question to John Payne of Legal Missouri 22. And can you tell us first off, what brought you into this conversation, why it's so important to you, but also where are we as Missourians right now with what we're looking at?
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, just 1 second. You picked up on my
You're okay.
truth unexpectedly. I had to turn it back off.
You're okay. You sound great.
Definitely. So, and sorry, I missed the question. What exactly did you ask?
No, you're okay. So let's talk about expungement in Missouri. Why you're such a proponent for it, which we all should be. Where the passion lies, and then why it's important to Missourians that we have. And also, let's talk about the issues with the efforts that we have underway. What issues you have with the legalization efforts that they're passing?
Certainly. Well, the biggest thing that just has to be addressed is that, that right now, as it stands today, minorities, specifically people of color, black and brown people, are being targeted by the war on drugs in a way that we are at a 400% likelihood of being arrested and sentenced for use, possession, or sale of this plant. But we still only make up less than 4% of the legal industry. It used to be 4% of the legal industry, but the industry is growing. So now we make up less than 4%. So you're telling me that I make up less than 4% of this legal industry, but I'm at a 400% likelihood of being arrested for this plant? Some made right there. And the biggest piece is that this industry, the legal industry, is built on the backs of those that are actually in jail. And that's the reason why expungement is more important and integrated into the legalization of for adult use and for the use of this plant as a commodity than we've seen with any other initiatives so far.
I think we lost you a little bit there.
It's interesting that we talk about this subject, but at least it is the main topic. This is a very good conversation that we all need to be having. So, Brennan, kudos to you, brother, for bringing this out to the forefront.
Yeah, thanks. I'm trying to get on my Wi-Fi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the biggest piece is, is like how do we create actual impactful language that makes sure that we actually get people out of jail.
Right. Now for my podcasters out there, I just watched him walk into the Cola Lounge, the St. Louis Cannabis Company Consumption Lounge that he has up there in St. Louis. And we'll talk about that as well just after we're done with this really important conversation.
Definitely. Word. Thanks, man. But yeah, so one of the main things that I did with this debate is I talked to both of the petition representatives about how expungement would really play out in their initiative and who would actually be affected. While one of the pieces of language is pretty distinct in making sure that anyone with a nonviolent cannabis offense that doesn't have a federal charge attached to it would be released from prison immediately. Well, I say immediately. There's technicalities. I'm just trying to summarize for the folks listening.
Oh, you're okay.
While the other initiative basically says certain people can get out, but there are stipulations, like that you have to have possessed under 3 pounds, for instance, which really kind of irked me. People saw that kind of get under my skin on live. So I was like, how can someone, what are you going to say to a family member that has a family member in jail that for 3.5 pounds while they're watching people get expunged that had 2.5 pounds? And they still get expunged. They have to serve their entire sentence.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They have to serve out their complete entire sentence according to Missouri Legal 22's language when it passes. Which, if it passes, and that's kind of an issue, isn't it? Because if you're serving time, let's say you're given 12 years, like some of these cats get that. The language doesn't it specifically say that they can't get out.
Exactly, and that's why the quote that you referenced. That's the reason I said that. As I was like, okay, so if you're saying that we still have stipulations on who actually qualifies for this expungement platform, then how does this actually balance out for those that have already been disproportionately targeted with over-sentencing or unnecessary sentencing? And there was no, for me at least, there was no answer that was good enough for me, and I'm sure anyone that would have a family member still in jail.
Well, and you make a very valid point in this article too that expungement's great, but let me read this. So, let me catch it right here. From his viewpoint, England believes the expungement proposals need much more focus and they need to be the priority. Here's the quote: "Expungement starts with getting people out of jail," England said. "It continues with repairing their lives, and it ends with giving them direct opportunities to rebuild their lives directly in the cannabis industry." Now, that's a very, very valid point. Like, a lot of these people get out of jail for these crimes, and first off, they're not even allowed to participate.
That's right, exactly. And so they still have to watch as really flies in the face of freedom, where they can tell that they're just getting freedom light, let alone that they're left. And the reason that I say that about repairing their lives, this isn't about reparations financially or anything like that. This is talking about, what do you do with someone that has the post-trauma of being in prison, especially if they feel like they've been wrongfully in prison? Maybe many of them amongst and damaged and hurt by true criminals, people who have really done very hard and terrible things in this world, that those of us that are advocating and trying to get this plant to the people, that we're supposed to just sit in jail and think it's okay because we had more than 3 pounds. I have to at least serve my entire sentence. I don't feel okay with that. The thing about legal fair access Missouri that some people found concerning is that they also will have you'll have to submit for paperwork. There's an application process, but as McSwain responds in there, that there's actual, whenever you have a process and when you have fees involved,
who pays
there's
for
actually one, it would be the prisoner, but they already have structures in place to pay for that for prisoners. And the second piece is when you have a system set up to pay and process, it could potentially move way faster than if you were trying to do an immediate expungement action with no type of requirements. So it could actually be more appealing for the legal entity for us to be able to go through business as usual, as long as we file all the paperwork and we have an organization set to do it. So each one of them has their pluses and their minuses. I asked them both, why do we even do this? Why do we petition instead of going to the legislature in a time when we have heavier bipartisan support on Republican and Democratic side? We've never had this much cooperative interest in this issue before. Why not just talk to the legislature about it and get this done finally at the state? They don't really have that. In my opinion, their answer is feeble in saying, well, the legislature can drag their feet. They've been known to do that. Yes, but we're in a different climate now. It could look way different. And even the governor has mentioned that the legislature should do something. Otherwise, we're going to have something happen like a petition battle we're talking about now.
Yeah, it's true story too that so many of these bills that we're seeing across the country, I've seen just as many. And it used to be a conversation where it seemed like the left was trying to get a cannabis agenda done, and the GOP was trying to halt it. Well, that just isn't true anymore. A lot of these legislations and everything coming across the country are all they're all
equally.
Yeah, they're coming from everywhere. GOP, everybody. So everybody's in agreement. And the cool part is, and listen, you know a lot more about this, Brennan, than I do. But the cool part is I see the word expungement in tons of them. But the reason I wanted you on today was sometimes that isn't necessarily the word we think it is. It could be so many different things, so many different triggers, so many different ways. And some of them can be false flags. And that's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, that's right. It's like we don't want to be pandered to. And even to call these things decriminalization. I mean, both of them still have, both of them still leave us with criminalizing limits with the plant, legal mo, way more so than fair access. So again, I would be more supportive, or I would be less dissonant with these initiatives if they'd be really transparent about the fact that this is just recriminalizing with new limits. It's not decriminalization. People can still get in trouble for the plant. It still is in our Constitution as a criminal substance, or as an illegal substance. So, we've got steps to make, man. It's like, and it's all the glitters ain't gold here.
So let me ask you a question, and I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this question, but I'm curious. Let's say Legal Missouri 22 passes. The expungement happens how they say it's going to happen. Where is your next fight?
The next fight is in the moment of doing my damnedest for what I got, because that's what we're doing right now, right?
Right.
It's like, that's the reason why I created the debate to begin with, is that I wasn't going to be a cheerleader or a champion for anyone's initiative or piece of legislative language. I wanted people to know that I was here to create transparency, specifically for minorities, but for Missourians in general, and that I would use my platform to do that, So I'll continue to do that. I'll continue to ask the hard questions. I'll continue to activate and get us transparency, so we know what move is the right move, even if it means no move.
Man, that's stand up and shout it. So here's the thing. Let's talk about what's in your hand right now on my podcast. You're splitting a blunt. Now, April 2nd, you're going to be splitting blunts with me at Mo Canna Fest up in the Regalia Theater, or the Regalia Hotel and Conference Center up there at Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. That is going to be the biggest, bombest, brightest, baddest festival you guys have seen. With the help of Brennan, we're going to have our very first consumption lounge situation, and it's going to be wild, man. Tell the people what kind of vibes they can expect with your kind of level of entertainment, my friend.
Look, it'll be the opposite of all this serious ass shit that we were just.
Now we got to watch. We are on the FCC values, so we got to watch. Yeah, you're good. Keep trucking though. Keep going. Tell us about the vibrations.
Yeah, don't stop rolling.
Yeah. So the biggest piece is that it's like what I say about the St. Louis Cannabis Club, is that we are where the industry meets the culture, right? We have our hand on the pulse of the cannabis culture, because the culture existed way before the industry, and the biggest piece of our culture is that we socially and we enjoyably consume and share this plant. And so I found myself blazing the trail here in Missouri to make the first consumption lounge where folks can privately, safely consume cannabis together and learn about the plant. We have a lot of new users that come in just to learn about new ways to consume, safe ways of whether it's edibles or extraction. And what we'll be doing we also offer this as a mobile service. So we do mobile pop-up versions of our bud bar that I'm chilling at right here at the Cola.
Oh yeah.
We got everything for flower on this side, everything for concentrates on this side, including the email and everything hot. And so we set this up on a mobile in a mobile version for parties.
Wait a second. So if I'm a dispensary and I'm throwing a patient drive, I can hire you to come do the event as a consumption lounge?
That's right. Now, there are caveats to whether we have Delta 9 or otherwise product.
Yep.
For private or public, and we're set up to do both. And so we just we're on an event by event basis, CBD or full spectrum. And so we'll be bringing that type of experience to Mo Canna Fest. It's going to be fun to see how we can. We won't just have one bar. We'll have bud bar. We'll have a couple bud bars. We're playing with some fun ways to theme out the bud bars, which will be pretty dope. I
got you.
We'll see how things go. You know, well, I always tell people, we keep the vibes happy and high.
That's right. Well, I've got Murph in studio from the Blue Sage Vivid team right now, man, and I know that they're going to be sponsoring all kinds of cool stuff at the event. So I know Vivid's going to be in the house. We're bringing all kinds of brands and different companies to this thing. The vendors are rolling in faster than I expected. The hotel rooms are half sold out already. We had to put half of them on hold for some of the vendors, but we've partnered up with a second hotel. And check this out, Brennan. We got a campground for all the deadheads and anybody that wants to go camping.
Yep.
Is that the one on the backside of the dam?
I'd have to check. It's on www.mocanifest.com.
Okay.
But man,
nice.
Brennan, I just want to say from us at the show to you, thank you for being in the headlines, for doing what you do, because without activists and advocates like you, this industry would be a gosh darn shame. And I appreciate you coming in and trying to clean it up.
Hey, Waxy, you got to be that to see that, bro. That's the only reason we're out here together. So I appreciate this thing, man.
Realize, real highs, man. I appreciate you, too. All right, guys, we're going to take off to a break. You guys, if you're in that area, check out St. Louis Cannabis Club, the Cola Lounge. If you're a card holder, check them out. Where can they find you at, Brennan?
Yeah, the easiest place to find us is on our socials.
Yeah, where's that?
You can find us on St. Louis Cannabis Club on Facebook, also the Cola Lounge on Facebook. You can see it right behind me. Beautiful spot to chill. Also, you can find us on Instagram under the same names.
Next week, I think I'm going to have you call in and take us a walk through that lounge. People need to see what you got going on, man. We're on it. We'll see you next Wednesday, Brennan.
Much love, buddy. Peace.
All right, fam. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, pay some bills, and when we come back, we got Izzy doing some Terp Talk on THCO. Take her away, Steve.